Greetings everybody, John Tar here with some Far Cry 5 gameplay. This is actually me playing, and I think this is one of the first opportunities anybody has had to publicly record and play Far Cry 5, and I'm really enjoying it. It's a freaking blast. I think the characters and the story are some of the best we've seen in a long time in Far Cry, and when we get to some of the cutscenes later on, I'm going to shut my app so you can enjoy some of the dialogue and some of the characters as well. But Far Cry 5, since Far Cry 1, the Far Cry franchise, it's been built on this idea of big open world, tons of missions, tons of things to do, kind of in any order you want, and take these missions on in kind of any style you want. I saw a couple other people playing this section of the game, and some people were doing it super stealth and really taking their time to kill every enemy without letting the other ones know. But as you'll see in a second here, I end up shooting a giant gasoline truck and just destroying a whole bunch of stuff and starting a huge firefight, which is kind of the way that I enjoy playing games more, or these games at least. There are plenty of stealth games that I enjoy, but Far Cry, for whatever reason, has never really stuck with me as a game that I really enjoy doing the stealth challenges, I guess. But there doesn't really seem to be much of an incentive to go stealth, other than maybe not getting shot at by as many people. But I love the explosions, I love the firefights. Anyway, so since Far Cry 1, this franchise has been kind of built on huge world, do it however you want, like I was saying a second ago. And there are so many games like that these days, and I think the developers know that. And I think they realized, okay, not only do we need to create a giant world that's fun to run around and drive around and kill wild animals in, but we need to fill that huge world with characters and story. Something better than any other open world game, because the novelty of a huge open world has kind of worn off. It's almost expected well, not expected, but it's not unique anymore. And I think that, well, you'll see with some of the characters, especially the Steven Seagal style character that you're gonna see in a second, like the acting and the writing is really top-notch so far. So at the beginning of this demo, I got to choose which one of 3 different companions, AI-controlled partners, would be joining me for the demo, and I chose Boomer, and I imagine that 95% of the people chose the dog as well. There were 2 other people you could choose, humans, and why would you choose a human when you can choose an invincible dog that runs through the fire and doesn't take shit from anybody? He's not a very smart dog, look at that, he's just running right into the fire. Anyway, so that's the first half of this, or the first chunk of this demo, Liberating Fall's End, and now I'm going to shut my yap and let you get introduced to some of the new characters.
Was wondering when you were gonna stop by. You got some balls rolling into town like that. Most folk take one look at Eden's Gate and turn the other way. The ones that don't get taught a hard lesson. Fucking Peggies are putting the screws on everyone around here. But they even went after Nick Rye's place. You know, it might be worth your time to go talk with Nick. See how he's doing. He ain't the sharpest tool, but his heart's in the right place. Hell, maybe he'll let you fly his plane. Ryan Son's Aviation. It's just down the road, you can't miss it.
Greetings, sister. The resistance needs to be like an onion. Onions have many layers. Onions don't give up. And when you cut them, they make you cry. Thousands of years of animals trying to eat it raw, and the onions still fight. They still challenge the eater. I've lived on a raw onion diet for a month. It turns you into a carpet bomb of irritability. Gave me so much resiliency, I ran a marathon without training. True story. You're gonna face tests, hero. What's worth the price of freedom? Will you disobey orders? You know what the law is, but those rules are from the civilized world, and that's not where we are now. The only rules here are Eden's gates. They see anyone who poses the project as expendable. Will you just shrug when you're given the choice? Time will tell.
So that character there, Casey Seagal, is based off of Steven Seagal's character in the movie Under Siege, whose name was Casey Ryback. And I could have talked to him for an hour because he had like quite a few different dialogue sequences when he's playing with his knife and like stabbing in the air. He kind of reminded me of Mac in Always Sunny, just kind of, you know, thinking he's a total badass and doing ocular pat downs and shit like that. Anyway, so I also tried to, like that little yellow lab there, I tried to command Boomer to attack the dog, and I really wanted to see some dog mounting, like I like a dog matchmaker action, which I think would have been hilarious, but it didn't happen, so hopefully they add that in the full game. Look at the dashboard. You got Voss in a little hula skirt, a little bobblehead. Nice little callback to Far Cry 3. Anyway, so what I'm doing now in the mission is I'm going to meet Nick Rye of Nick Rye and Sons, who owns an airfield and a plane, and we're going to try to take out a couple large silos filled with some, it's not nitroglycerin, but they said some sort of bomb-making chemical, and do a little bit of flying towards the end of this mission as well. So the world building in this has been fantastic so far. And I grew up in Colorado. I still live in Colorado. And this part of Montana looks very much like Colorado. It's still part of the Rocky Mountains and all that. And I absolutely love the setting for that. I just went camping last weekend, and this absolutely reminds me of a lot of the places that I went this last weekend. And as you can see, there's a couple wild animals that you can hunt and skin, and they removed the skinning animation from the last couple of Far Cry games. Oh god, I forgot about Far Cry Primal. But which I think is kind of nice, because I think it got kind of repetitive and felt like kind of a waste of time after a while, doing the same kind of like stab skin animation. Even though it was super quick, it did kind of slow down the fast-paced gameplay, and it was kind of unnecessary. Don't really think after the first 2 or 3 times you saw that animation that it was particularly interesting. If they had unique kind of like skinning animations for every single kind of type of wildlife that you found, then it might have been compelling to watch. You know, maybe not repeatedly, but like skinning different kinds of animals. But it was just a minor thing that I noticed. Anyway, so all of the enemies right now, they have no idea where I am. So using this sniper rifle, I'm able to stay a little bit stealthy, because they are all focused on Nick Rye, the guy who I'm trying to meet right now. And as soon as I kill all these guys, we're gonna get another little bit of dialogue to meet and talk to him. God, the gameplay in this is fantastic. So I'm playing with a PlayStation 4 controller right now. Obviously a PlayStation 4 controller. Why would I say that? Anyway, but I'm not even sure if I was playing on a PlayStation or a PC, or whether I'm on the PlayStation Pro or a standard PlayStation 4, because they frequently have their demo units kind of boxed off so you can't actually see them, and so they're harder to steal if someone were so inclined to steal something from a private event like this, which would be insane. But so anyway, we liberated the Ryan Sons Aviation. Now we're gonna go talk to the younger Ryan son and learn a little bit more about the mission.
Hey, you! Where'd you learn to shoot like that? God damn, it's good to meet you. Name's Nick Rye. Yeah, the Nick Rye of Ryan Son Aviation. You probably saw the signs. You know, you might be able to help me out with something. I found out them goddamn Peggies are storing ammonium nitrate in a few of them silos around here. You know, the good stuff. So my idea is to take my plane, drop a couple bombs on them, and kaboom! Except my wife is all, "You're an idiot. You're gonna get yourself killed. Your daughter's gonna grow up fatherless, blah, 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 blah." That's where you come in. You take my plane, you drop the bombs, I don't have to sleep on the couch anymore. Everyone wins. The plane's parked down at Gunner's Landing. Careful not to scratch her up.
Now onto the final part of the mission, which they called Tower Defense. I found that kind of a clever title for the mission. And we're gonna go steal an airplane, well, not steal an airplane, borrow his airplane, and bomb a couple large silos. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the controversy surrounding this game, or honestly, I don't even think it's controversy. I think it's very drummed up controversy, but I'll talk about it nonetheless. Some people were offended, and well, anytime you do anything these days, someone's offended. So saying some people offended doesn't really mean anything, because with any story, anytime, any sort of news, someone is offended. And at some point you just have to kind of ignore that shit and just move on with your life. But I do think that the timing of the story in this game is interesting. And even whether or not anybody was genuinely offended or actually genuinely cares, that's a completely different topic to talk about, and not particularly interesting. Like, everybody's fucking offended these days. It's insane. Okay, stay on topic, John. So the fact that this game takes place in America and the antagonists, the enemies, are these Christian cultists, especially at a point in history when Trump is in the office, there has been a rebirth to the alt-right, when these kind of far-right, gun-toting, gun-fanatical people have, well, not taken control, because that sounds like they literally took control from someone who deserved it versus won an election, but there's been a rebirth to this kind of America First mentality, and the Christian way is the right way, or religion first, and kind of this. I find it kind of ironic that the right, the conservatives, the people that were fighting in this game, the people that are running the government right now, they have this idea that, like, the Christian way is the only way, and that is what America was built on, when in fact that is the exact opposite of what America was built on. It was built on this idea that you can believe in whatever you want, and you don't have to believe in this religion, but this cult is here to defend their right to do whatever they want from being challenged by anybody else, which is kind of anti-thought, I believe, is the best way to put it. Like, to say that, like, your way is the only way is not it's just not, that is the least American way of handling any sort of thought. I believe it was just kind of, it was built more on openness to, like, the ability to challenge anybody's thought on anything. whether you agree with it or not. And, you know, I don't agree with the far right principles, but I am fully open to anybody challenging, you know, civilly my thoughts and beliefs. So, you know, political tirade aside, I think it's really interesting the timing of this story, and the potential political controversy that could come up from this game. So the development cycle for a game like this is so long that there is no way on earth that the developers of this game could have foreseen this coming. And even things like oh god, there's so many like crazy things happening in this kind of part of the world in the last couple years, between the Nevada ranchers having like the huge standoff, and then god, I believe it was some very right-wing guys in Oregon that took control of some federal buildings for, you know, 20-something days or whatever it was. And, you know, and all of those things were kind of happening during the development of this game. And whether or not that was intentional, or whether or not it was, you know, the kind of the arc of the game doubled down on, you know, having those types of people being the antagonist, worked out perfectly for the story and creating, you know, a world that seems very real and, you know, totally potentially could happen in the real world in Montana today, which so many games in so many movies and that kind of stuff are set in the far distant future, where you have to kind of stretch your imagination a little bit to actually see some of these things happening, whereas so much of the story of this game feels like it could actually happen today, which I find fascinating. Now, I'm very curious to see if they change some lines of dialogues to reference the commander-in-chief or Trump, or you know, any kind of things like that when the full game comes out. I saw none of that kind of stuff in just this demo, but anyway. So anyway, thanks for checking out this video. Hope you enjoyed it. I have a couple more Gamescom video coming out in the next few days, including some Assassin's Creed tomorrow. So thanks for watching, and game on.